The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene and you are listening to Durian ASEAN. We have here our guest, Syerleena Abdul Rashid. She's part of the Penang Stop Human Trafficking campaign and she's with us now. Hi, Syerleena, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so tell me, what is your role in the campaign?
Well, at present, I am somewhat of the secretariat of the campaign. The thing is, there's no full-time staff. Everybody works part-time and volunteer basis. So the campaign's more of a team effort where everyone pitches in, because everyone has different experiences. We all come from different backgrounds, so it's just a collective of views and just trying to get this campaign, up and going.
I see. So Penang Stop Human Trafficking campaign. This is a very interesting campaign. So why human trafficking and why this campaign at this time?
Why not human trafficking? Because this is definitely an issue that concerns everyone, and with the ongoing, for example, you've got issues of mistreatment, people being exploited, people being sold and bought. This concerns everyone. So the objective of this campaign is that we want to spread the message that human trafficking is modern day slavery, and most importantly, we must stop criminalizing the survivors of trafficking.
Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to the campaign itself, why Penang government is taking this initiative?
Well, the Penang government has been very supportive in tackling certain issues such as human rights, and this is purely something that we think is a good step, a positive measure in combating this issue.
Mm-hmm. So this campaign falls under one of the initiative of the Penang government, right?
Oh, actually, these are actually separate things. The Penang Stop Human Trafficking campaign is actually an umbrella organization.
Yeah. I see.
So what we do is it's an umbrella organization that tackles issues such as migrants and refugees, domestic workers, and mostly about human trafficking. So what happens is now that we've got our campaign has been supported by the Penang government.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Penang state government. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is the extent of the severity of this particular issue, especially in Penang? I mean, even in Malaysia, in that extent.
Right. The thing is, to understand what's going on in Penang, we need to look in what's going on in Malaysia, and mostly we need to also focus on the global issues. Now, according to the United Nations, the number of being trafficked is currently more than 30 million. So it's seen as the second fastest growing criminal enterprise behind drug trafficking. So human trafficking occurs in 161 out of 192 countries, and 56% occur in Asia. So what's going on in the international world right now is that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights prohibits slavery of human beings, and Article 4 clearly states that no one shall be held in slavery of servitude. Slavery and slave trade shall be prohibited in all forms. So what Malaysia has done is that the Malaysian government has signed two conventions, the Convention of the Rights of Child, CRC, and the Convention on the Elimination on all forms of discrimination on women. So the problem is right now, in 2011, the U.S. Department of State's annual trafficking persons identified Malaysia as being a destination and to a lesser extent a source and transit country for women, children that are being subjected to conditions of forced labor and sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm. So children and women are the main victims of human trafficking.
Well, I wouldn't say women and children. It's everyone. You've got men, women, and children. And just so you understand that when we talk about human trafficking, it's not purely just sex trafficking. You also have forced labor trafficking. So these are subcategories of human trafficking that is just really cause of concern.
When you say Malaysia is the destination for human trafficking, usually it will be coming from which country to where?
I wouldn't say it's a destination, but it has been identified as being like a transit place.
So there will be there would be transit from where to where usually?
Normally we have people of neighboring ASEAN countries, for example. We've got, for example, people from Nepal, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and we also have cases where, people from China, Russia, and Uzbekistan, they're all being victims. They are victims of trafficking.
And how it works? Maybe you have a clue on it?
How it works? It's kind of like okay. Let's talk about one, for example. Usually, sometimes it begins with a recruiter, for example, who sees the opportunity by feeding, promises of better economic opportunities abroad. So they somehow are able to rope in, vulnerable people. And as soon as these survivors or victims arrive to their destination, their passports are stolen. So basically, people are being bought and sold, and this is, a form of modern-day slavery.
So it's a form of modern-day slavery. And why it has gone unnoticed mostly? Why is that so?
I wouldn't say it's gone unnoticed. I mean, I would rather think that this issue is just not given a priority. I mean, people know it exists. People are aware of the extent of the problem. And in Malaysia, for example, we have a number of organizations such as Waram Suhakam Aliran and Tenaga Nita, who we all know that, the late Irene Fernandez was a part of. And she was a very vocal advocate of highlighting such issues. So partly one of the reasons why I personally joined this campaign was to find out why this issue hasn't been seen as a priority. But I guess to fully understand that, you really need to understand the, complexity of humankind. Because obviously there's a supply-demand chain that exists in the same vein as, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
So for example, when you look at a person who may hire domestic help, because everybody knows that in Malaysia it's quite affordable, and the more something becomes accepted as the norm, the more sanitized you become, and as a result, in this case, the domestic help you hire is seen more of a commodity, and you forget the human aspect of the situation.
Is there any current law put in place, either it's state law or federal law, in terms of protecting the victims of human trafficking?
There have been a few positive measures, but again, to fully describe, the roles of the government, I won't be able to give you details of, because that involves decision makers and policy makers on, the federal level.
Okay, let's talk about a campaign. So what do you do in the campaign?
Well, okay, what do we do? Besides creating awareness, we've so far conducted few seminars. We do plan on organizing a series of workshops and seminars. So far, right now, we have a regular booth in Penang. There's an event that happens every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
That's right. It's called Occupy Beach Street. So we have a booth set up, and what we do is we just spread the word, spread, the issue, and, have people, we encourage people to engage in, discussions and see what can be done.
So what is the response of the Penang Nights?
Actually, it's so far, so good.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's a positive step, and yeah, we hope this continues for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Just wondering about Penang government. Is there any effort by the Penang government in terms of trying to reduce human trafficking when it comes to not just the campaign, but more than that, like maybe in terms of legislation and law enforcement?
There is definitely ongoing discussions on how the state can tackle these issues. Again, I'm not at liberty to disclose certain details, but so far from what we know, we understand that there's definitely an interest in setting up a task force. That would be one way of dealing with it, and the fact that for our campaign the state government has supported us, that is definitely a positive step.
Mm-hmm. What is the long-term solution, in your view, or recommendation to stop human trafficking from thriving in Malaysia?
Wow. Well, obviously the most obvious would be, to stop human trafficking once and for all. But, it will take time. So right now our goal is to reach out to people, especially the survivors of human trafficking. And we just want people to be made aware of the human lives that are affected by this issue. So as for, something like sex trafficking, for example, the most obvious recommendation would be, to stop the demand.
Mm-hmm.
So getting in touch and reaching out to so-called users and whatnot, just need to reach out somehow and tell them that, look, you have to understand that little things that you do also show that you might directly or indirectly support this industry. So another important thing that our campaign, what we are trying to do right now, is we are working with refugee and migrant communities.
Mm-hmm.
So this is seen as an important step in educating the communities that have the most direct experience in trafficking persons. So we want to provide a platform for them, a platform so that they can be heard and share their, experiences with people, and hopefully make everyone understand why this is an important issue that everyone must tackle.
Mm-hmm. Talking about working together with these migrant workers and refugees, what are their stories that maybe you can share with us?
Wow. Working with this campaign, honestly, we've heard a lot of cases. But okay, one case that comes into my head, I can't name names, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a case of this young Vietnamese woman who was recruited from her country. Now, the recruiter told her that, there's this wonderful job opportunity that awaits her in Malaysia. And, as usual, the promises were very enticing. But the moment she arrived at the airport, she met up with, her would-be traffickers, who then took away the passports. And the thing is, when you're in such a vulnerable position, being a woman, being alone in a foreign country, and having your passports taken away from you, you're left with no choice, and that's a horrible position to be in. So what happened to this lady was that she was taken to this place. It was a massage parlor, which, offered certain extra activities. And she was forced to, fulfill certain obligations against her will. I can't go into details in this case, but, you can imagine the misery she was in. The acts that she was subjected to, and just how helpless this human being felt, during the whole ordeal. We've got cases like that, and, this is just something so wrong.
So, as us, ordinary Malaysians, what can we do about this?
There's actually a lot that we can do. I mean, of course, when we speak about tackling issues like that, the one thing that we see is, it takes a lot of, political will, or, you need to be in that level to really tackle it. But average Malaysians like you and I, we can do so much. For example, one of the best ways would be getting in touch with, these organizations. And in Malaysia, as I mentioned before, we've got Tenaga Nita, Aliran, we've got Suara, these human rights-based organizations. That would be a good platform to engage in, to be a part of. Now, what happens is you can find out from people, ways on how we can tackle this situation, and just engage the public more. There's always, a way that we could gather information and sit down and write letters to, for example, the council, your YBs, just get the word out.
Mm-hmm. If Malaysians, they want to report on any cases that that witness, especially cases especially on human trafficking issues, how can they do that? Is there any hotline or any departments or law enforcement that they can report to?
There is, but the problem is, there's a lot of red tape or bureaucracy, and like I said, the best way to start would be is getting in touch with your local human rights organizations, and in this day and age, information is just so readily available. Everyone has a Facebook site. You can Google on just about anything, and that would be a good way to start. For example, with our campaign, we encourage the public to join us. Anyone can be a part of our campaign. We have a Facebook page set up. It's called Penang Stop Human Trafficking. Anyone can send us a message. If you have any questions or you want to get to know more about the campaign, we're there. So that would be one step. And as I mentioned before, although right now we're focusing on Penang, but we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking beyond the borders of Penang. We're looking into, the whole country, the whole region, and just spread that information and how ordinary human beings can, tackle this situation.
Mm-hmm. So this is a very interesting campaign, and I'm sure, it will add a lot of efforts towards the government, because I think this is an issue that is beyond just partisan politics. It's an issue that all Malaysians should be concerned and put as part of the national priority as well. And when it comes to Malaysians, any last message that you can share with Malaysians on why they need to be more concerned with the issue on human trafficking?
Well, it's simple as this. When we talk about human trafficking, being Malaysians, we think, this doesn't directly affect me, but it does, because it's not just the foreign workers or the people, who are not Malaysians being trafficked. Malaysians ourselves, there are cases of Malaysians being trafficked. So again, this is a global issue that everyone needs to be aware of. We should stop treating people like commodities.
Mm-hmm.
Children, boys, girls, men, these are fathers and brothers and sisters. We need to stop treating people like commodities, for example, and just really get in touch with compassion and respect for human beings.
Mm-hmm. So that's all from Durian ASEAN. Thank you very much, Syerleena, for speaking with us on the issue of human trafficking, and all the best with the campaign. And don't forget, for all listeners of Durian ASEAN here, to click on the Facebook of your campaign, which is called Penang Stop Human Trafficking. Am I correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And join their event every Sunday, right?
Yes. Well, it's a booth that we set up every Sunday at Beach Street, under Occupied Beach Street. So we're there from 7 o'clock in the morning until 1 p.m. and that would be a good way to, meet us, get to know us, and we can, just give you updates on future events and, just get this campaign going.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.